Hey everyone, Jen here from the free Facebook group Energized Women. Just before we get started on tonight's live stream topic, I'm just going to make sure that this video gets shared with all the lovely ladies in my Energized Women group. Just bear with me. I really should get some music to play for this little bit. Note for self next time. Okay, I'm back. So let me just close that so I don't get distracted by myself. Myself on here is distracting enough. Tonight's just hit it with my laptop, sorry. So tonight's video topic, first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about Energized Women. So as I said, I'm Jen Turnham. I'm the host of the free Facebook group Energized Women, and I created that group as a place for women who traditionally have looked after everybody else and quite often put themselves last on their priority list. So I wanted to create a space for these women to feel supported in pursuing things that make themselves happy and putting themselves first, and also to help these women, including me, learn that by putting ourselves first or filling our own cup first, then we can actually be better mothers, better daughters, better sisters, better partners, whatever it is that we want to be. So if you'd like to join the group and you're not already a member, then click on the link attached to this video. So tonight's topic, I'm going to talk about pleasure versus purpose and why it's making you unhappy. So I want to ask a question to start with. How many of you have experienced the following type of thought processes in the past? You might be thinking things like, when I get that new job, new car, new house, insert new something in this blank here, when I get that new X, I will be happy. So can you relate to that question? Also, what about this? Do you know someone in your life who never seems happy, yet they continue to look for happiness in things? So for example, they're always looking, or not always, but they're quite often upgrading their car. They always got to have the latest model iPhone or Samsung. They're looking for an upgrade of their house all the time. They might even be looking for happiness in beer. You never know. So comment hell yes if you can relate to either of those two questions. So the first one being, have you ever had those sort of thought processes yourself, which go like, when I get that job or get that new car, I will be happy? Or do you know somebody who is constantly searching for happiness in material things, so to speak? It's quite common, and I think basically what's happening is we have most of us have a list of goals, a list of wants, a list of things that we want to buy. We also have this belief that once we have achieved those things, ticked them off the list or bought those items, that we will experience a greater level of happiness in our life. But what you might have noticed is that when you achieve these things, when you tick them off your list, when you buy that new car, you probably do, I'll change that. You do notice an increase in your happiness levels, but it's very short-lived. And if you pay attention to that, what I think you'll find is that your brain pretty much immediately starts it's already moved on to the next thing on the list. So that happiness that that item or that thing may have given you is very short-lived. As I said, it is very common, and I think that the issue is we've kind of been conditioned in society to be very materialistic, and we're almost, we are conditioned to look for happiness in those sorts of things. So why is that not working? The reason for that is there is a difference between what we call hedonistic happiness and eudaimonic happiness. So hedonistic happiness, to put simply, it's the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. And the focus is more about our subjective well-being. So for example, do I feel good right now? Is there an absence of pain? Is there an absence of negative mood or feeling bad? On the flip side is eudaimonic happiness. Now this is more purpose-driven. So it's based on meaning and self-realization. For example, have I identified a satisfying purpose in my life? And am I functioning as the best version of myself that I can be? So that's just in a very basic description, the difference between hedonistic and eudaimonic. I can't even say it now. Eudaimonic happiness. And I think what's happened is over time, there's been this massive shift. It's been quite slow, but it's been pretty massive in terms of, as I mentioned, as a society, we're conditioned to focus on those external things to give us our happiness. The sad thing is, though, to feel happy in general, or the majority of the time, we need to focus on eudaimonic happiness, not hedonistic happiness. The problem with hedonistic happiness is it's so fleeting. So we might feel happy today. We just picked up our new car, so our happiness levels increase. But in a few days' time, we might be feeling miserable again, and we don't really understand why. So what can we do instead if we realise that one of the things we may be doing is putting too much focus on this hedonistic happiness? So the key to feeling happy more often than not is to simply switch our focus to achieving eudaimonic happiness. For example, finding a higher purpose for your life, focusing on personal development and working towards being the best version of ourselves. And I guarantee you that that is the only way to achieve lasting happiness. Otherwise, you'll be forever chasing the next thing that's going to make you happy. And I've seen it happen time and time again, chasing that new job, the new car, the bigger house, the better couch, the bigger TV. As I rattle off all these things, you can probably think of somebody in your own life who it's much more obvious that these are the types of things that they're doing. But as I mentioned, we all have a tendency, because we've been conditioned, mainly through probably the marketing and the media, conditioned to look for our happiness external to ourselves. But the key is that eudaimonic happiness, so that it's a focus on psychological well-being. Do we have meaning in our life? Do we have purpose in our life? That is what is going to give you that, as I said, general feeling of happiness. It's not fleeting, it's much more ongoing. So I invite you to now have a think about how this plays out in your life. And I've got a couple of action steps that I invite you to have a think about to see how you're tracking in terms of your eudaimonic happiness. So question 1 is, can you identify your life's purpose in a couple of sentences? Number 2 is, how often do you engage in personal development work? Number 3, how often do you do things to improve parts of yourself that you know could be a little bit better. So a simple example is perhaps trying to be a better listener for your partner, trying not to make assumptions about people, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. They're two little examples that could be things that you're doing to improve small parts of yourself. And the key about this work is that it doesn't have to be big, life-changing shifts, although it can be. And if you ask anybody who's ever done a personal development course, like a really full-on one, or maybe a silent retreat, those things can be really big, life-changing personal development things, but it doesn't have to be. You can just focus on small things, as I said, trying to be a better listener for your partner. So how often do you do those things? And question number 4, the last question, is what could you add to your list to try? So what's one thing that you could perhaps start to focus on to help improve and be a better version of you? So I would love to hear what sort of things you come up with. I'd love to hear your thoughts on hedonistic versus eudaimonic happiness and how that plays a part in your life. And I'd love to hear how you go with those answers to the questions. This conversation will continue it in my free Facebook group, Energized Women. If you're not a member yet, then please click on the link and join us. As I said, it's a group set up to help women who put everybody else first learn that making themselves a priority can actually make us better mothers, sisters, daughters, partners, etc. So that's it for me tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Jen Turnham from Energized Women, and I probably won't be back next week. I might have to update you later because I'm going camping. So I will have to see because I might not have internet. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you all in 1 week or 2. Good night.